Hey, I'm Mechanical Engineer, and we just passed 10,000 subscribers. So in today's video, if you haven't already been able to tell, we'll be building our own YouTube play button to celebrate 10,000 subscribers. Wow, that is nothing but amazing. So let's go ahead and get started on our 10,000 sub play button. So to begin, I start by pulling out a few boards from my wood scrap pile. These are all different woods that have different colors, textures, and even thicknesses, which is good because they'll add a lot of personality to our project. The only thing they have in common is that I cut them all down to the same width. However, once again, they're all different thicknesses. I cut all my boards down to 1.5 inches wide, which might be a little bit too wide. An inch might serve them better, but only time will tell. So now I'm going to take the boards, I'm going to plane the sides of them, not worrying about the top or the bottom, just planing the sides of them, and then I'll cut them into 8-inch long sections, like these. And it is important to note that these are all approximately cut to 8 inches long, but nothing exact. And that's okay because we'll be cutting into them again later down the line. So now we're going to want to start gluing these pieces together side by side, making sure to alternate between different styles of wood. And of course, the only reason we're alternating the wood pieces is so that the different wood types really pop out in the finished piece. Now we're going to want to glue these pieces together until they are 4 inches wide. If you can get that exact measurement by just gluing them together, that's great, but if it's a little bit too wide, don't worry about it. We'll cut it down on the table saw once the glue dries. Now that it's glued, I'm going to drop some scrap pine boards on each side to help protect the wood and then clamp it together. And now that the glue has had some time to dry, I'm going to go ahead and run it through the table saw so that it's exactly 4 inches wide. And then I'm going to go ahead and give it all a rough sanding. And now it is time for our play button to start taking shape. To do this, I'm going to start by marking a 6-inch long rectangle out of the center of our block, and then cutting along the line so that only a 6 by 4 inch piece is left. Next, we're going to want to cut off the corners of the rectangle and then round off the edges. An easy way to do this is to take a spray can, place it at the corners of your block, and then trace around the base of it with a pencil. We can then cut along those lines with a scroll or bandsaw and then clean them up with just a tad bit of sanding. Just like that, and wow, it's actually really starting to look nice. But now comes the hard part. We're going to have to cut a triangle into the center of the button to make it look like a real play button. But before we cut it out, we're of course going to have to draw it. But before we draw it, I'm going to have to tell you something. The triangle inside of the YouTube play button is actually not a perfect triangle. The sides are different lengths. Now you might be wondering why they did that. I think they did it just for looks. Because this is a perfect triangle, and even though I guarantee it's in the dead center of the button, it looks really strange, like it's off to one side. But with all that being said, the YouTube triangle sides are not all that different in length. The back side of the triangle is about 7/8 the length of the two front ones. So what we're going to have to do to get a triangle of the same shape is first draw a vertical line through the center of the button. Now we'll draw a 2-inch long line going horizontally through the center of the button. And although we do want this line to be centered vertically, we're actually going to want to be 1/4 inch longer on the right side. Since the line is 2 inches long, that means we'll have 3/4 of it on the left side and 1.25 inches of it on the right. Just like that. Now we'll draw a second 2-inch long line at the left side of the first one. Only this line will center perfectly, leaving 1 inch on each side. We'll then connect both sides of that line to the right side of the horizontal, erase the extra lines, and we are left with a YouTube looking triangle. But we're not out of the woods just yet. Now we're going to have to drill out the 3 corners just large enough so we can fit our scroll saw blade in there, and then we can finish cutting out the triangle. Like this. And with the triangle now cut out, I'm going to take some sandpaper and clean up the inside edges. Next, I'm going to take a 3/4 inch thick piece of scrap board and I'm going to place it underneath the button. If you have a different type of wood that you've not yet used, this will be a perfect opportunity to use it. Trace the triangle design onto it, cut it out, then glue it in place at the bottom of the triangle. Now if you wanted to, you could use a router and round off the top edges. That would look pretty cool, but I think I'm going to leave mine just as it is. So once the glue has had enough time to dry, I'm going to go ahead and sand everything down and then stain it. For stain, I'm going to apply a coat of dark walnut, sand it, and then apply a coat of honey 272. I do this because with the stain and the sanding mixed all together, it should come out with a very cool looking rustic finish. The stain really did come out looking nice. You can definitely tell the different woods we put in here, and I love the dark rich color. And since it is 1.5 inches thick, it can easily stand on its own, which makes it a perfect shelf decoration. However, if I were to build this again, I would do one thing differently, and that would be to not stain the inside of the triangle so it would stand out more. But even now, it's not a huge issue. All I have to do is sand the inside of it a little bit and it'll turn a lighter color. All things being considered though, I'm very happy with how this piece turned out. And there you have it, how to build your own YouTube play button. But hey, thank you so much for you guys watching, and thank you so much for 10,000 subscribers. That is nothing short of amazing. I have loved the journey so far, and I'm looking forward to seeing where we end up. If you're watching this video though, and you have not already subscribed, please feel free to do so. But regardless, thank you so much for watching, and Lord willing, I'll see you next Friday.
Thanks for watching, and please feel free to subscribe. 10,000 subscribers!